Okay, cool, guys. Sorry for the couple-minute delay here getting started. Um, let's see. So we've got a team all over the world. It's awesome. We have 18 people online listening to this now, and we're streaming on YouTube. So that'll be up for people to look at later on. Okay, so we've got, so Anarch is running the tech right now. We've got Jane online. She's not in a very good position to be speaking much, so I'll do most of the talking today. Let's see, so this is our first community meeting, so this is pretty exciting. The plan is to do this, we're gonna start off bi-weekly, so every other week, and we really just wanna have a live forum for people to like hear what's going on and hear from us directly and be able to ask questions, give us feedback. And there's just been so much going on in the background that sometimes it's hard to just get all that out to everyone. So anyway, this is exciting. And I'm gonna try to keep it to about 15 to 20 minutes of me talking. And then we'll open it up to live Q&A. So if anyone has things that they want to address, you can just type your questions, your comments into the bi-weekly update channel, and then we'll get to that once we get through everything. So Jane, are you available to just give a quick intro? Then I'll dive into what we're going to talk about. You can come off mute if that's doable. If not, I'll just go right into it. So anyway, okay. Well, so you know, I put together a slide deck to go through today, which you can see on the YouTube stream. And when I sent that out to everyone to take a look at and provide inputs, Rolf came back with some really good points. And that was that this is our first community meeting, and there's just been so much going on for the last 6 to 8 weeks that maybe I should start with a little bit bigger picture topics, and then we can go into the specific details about what we've been doing. So fundamentally, I think we need to ask ourselves a question of why do we even exist? Because this is a really exciting project for me and for those of us that have been working on it, and I hope it's really exciting for everyone else out there. We all come to this for different reasons. Really, like for me, why we exist, I think that, and I think that this is really important to keep emphasizing this message, because we at zencash, we're a grassroots project bringing what we think is the best cryptocurrency privacy technology to the world. So that's a really important mission. So fundamentally, we're just the best cryptocurrency technology for privacy out there, along with Zcash that we inherited the technology from. But we're taking a completely grassroots approach to spreading this around the world. So I think it's very important to remind ourselves of our mission, probably every day or whenever we, things look like they're getting tough. Remind ourselves about why it's so important that we're doing what we're doing. But specifically, what are we doing? We're a cryptocurrency, so we're all about private transactions. But on top of that, what's unique for Zen is that we're building out an encrypted network. So the secure node network is going to be key to what we're doing. And there's a lot that we're going to be able to accomplish with the secure node network. Just one kind of tantalizing thing that we're talking about is being able to do like a computation load distribution across the network, which is pretty amazing stuff when you think about it. So, and that's just the first thing that we're thinking we can do. So we're really trying to position ourselves to be the most secure network using the most secure privacy technology for transactions out there. And that's just the starting point. Another really important thing that we have is just funding for growth. This community funding model, this treasury model is critical to what we're doing. There's so many other blockchain projects out there that have been raising capital through, whether it's a pre-mine, which then has issues with unequal distribution of coins across the user base, with early insiders taking the majority share. We just said that that's not egalitarian. We don't want to do that. There's the ICO model, but I think that there are a lot of issues with the ICO model. So we scrapped all of those those ideas, and we came up with just this treasury model that, Dash is using quite successfully. So we thought that was the best approach. So we have sustained funding going forward to, fund growth projects, whether that's development. We have a lot of our resources going to development right now, which makes sense since we're really just getting started. And then we'll be able to fund community outreach, community events, promotional activities. We'll be able to fund marketing to get the word out there. So I think that gives us, in the long run, a huge strategic advantage that a lot of other blockchain projects don't have. And then the inclusive governance aspect. We're talking about a truly decentralized network, and we want to make governance much more efficient. So we're working on a distributed governance model similar to what Dash is doing, where we're going to try to improve on that as well. Like Dash has a Dash Central way for people to vote on uses for community funds. We're building something like a Zen Central. So that's just in a nutshell, like why are we here? We serve a tremendously valuable function for society, in my opinion, and we have a really innovative and unique way that we're going about it. So I think we need to kind of rejuvenate the excitement that we had in starting this project, and as we're going forward, you'll see we have so much going on and so many plans that we're starting to execute on that we should be excited. Okay, so that said, the last little thing that I'll talk about, before we get into the slides is, sure, the price has been going down quite a bit, and this is a really serious issue for a lot of people in the community. And it's horrible when people invest their money to support a project and the price just keeps going down. But what I will say is that the truth is we're much stronger than when we started. So our price is 20%, 25% of what it was when we launched. That's crazy. We had a bit of a messy launch. There's no hiding that. But in the meantime, since then, we've emerged from that initial scenario, and we've been building this kind of dream team in the background of awesome developers, awesome people that we're bringing on to do marketing. We just have really good people just taking lead on different parts of the project. So we're so much stronger. The price doesn't yet reflect that. I'm not going to make predictions on price, but just take a look at the activity on GitHub, take a look at the activity in the community, and I think that this should get people excited again about what we're doing. Stick to the mission, and I think we'll be okay in the end. I think eventually the market will catch up to the reality of where we are with how active we're moving forward, the momentum that we're getting. That just post your questions into the text channel, and we'll answer them when we're done with the slide deck. But okay, so now the slide deck. If we could just move on to the first slide there. I know there's a little bit of a lag from the Discord to the YouTube stream, so apologize if the lag persists. Yeah, let's move on to the next slide, or the first slide really, on the development front. Okay, so I'll just start talking to it, and the slide should catch up in there we are. The slide's already caught up. Great. Okay, so development-wise, we've had a ton of successes already, and it may not look like much, but the biggest thing that we did recently was we just had the successful hard fork, and hard forks are really difficult to pull off. They're not easy. They're not trivial by any means. In this hard fork, we packaged a bunch of updates that we thought were fairly important. Okay, so when we launched as a chain split from Z Classic. I think most people here know the history behind that, but the technical history or the technical side of that is really important, where when you split from another chain, you have to worry about replayed transactions across chains. Okay, so someone could potentially spend funds from Z Classic and have those funds replayed on the Zen network, or vice versa. So a big part of what we were doing initially was working on the technical aspects to make sure that that doesn't happen. Okay, so unfortunately, we had 26 replay transactions that did happen, and a great news story for the community is that we were able to identify them, verify that the people that were affected were in fact the owners of the addresses that were infected, and then we reimbursed everyone. So that was a really good news story. It shows that we came together as a community and we said it's really important to us that our users just don't get screwed, right? It wasn't their fault that their addresses got replayed, so we made sure that we made them whole again. Okay, so this hard fork was to make sure that we solidified all of those protections and make sure that this can't happen going forward again. Okay, so that's what the BIP 115 update was for. That was so that when we have, if anyone were to split the Zen chain in the future, we are not vulnerable to any chain splits that other people might choose to do on our code base. And another big thing that we had was the replay protections broke some of the functionality that we had. For instance, the multi-signature addresses, we had a bug in there where they became no longer compatible with the replay code. So we had a fix in there. We added 3.5% of block rewards for the secure nodes. Now, there was some controversy about this, but this was explicitly spelled out in the white paper, roadmap, was they were funding secure nodes, right? So once we actually get that network up, anyone that runs a validated secure node will be splitting 3.5% of block rewards. Okay, so we had a hard fork, and this was the time to finally implement that 3.5%. So in the meantime, before the secure node network tracking system goes live, we're using those funds to fund development of that tracking network, which is actually doing really well at the moment. I'll get to that in the next slide. And we swapped out the old community fund addresses. This is something you have to do whenever someone leaves a project that has private keys for addresses. Even though they're in secured multi-signature addresses, you need to swap them out. You cannot have anyone who is no longer part of a project retaining private keys to funds that belong to the project. So we swapped out the old addresses. And we had some issues initially of our early DNS seeders. When you launch your node, it connects to other nodes on the network, and the initial seeders were needed to be updated. So we did that. We removed a consensus requirement for community funds. So any Coinbase transaction, these are block rewards. Part of the block rewards go to the miner. Part of the block rewards go to the community fund. And there's a requirement for any of these Z coins to maintain full fungibility of the coin to route for the first transaction of that Coinbase UTXO unspent transaction output to go to a shielded address, a Z address. Okay, so we had a trade-off under consideration. If we wanted to maintain full security of multi-signature addresses, we needed to exempt the community funds from that first transaction going to a Z address. So we have the community funds and multi-signature addresses that are fully secured, functional multi-sig addresses that then we send to another T address, which then goes to a Z address after that, which maintains full fungibility of all the coins on the network. Okay, so that's what we did in that bundled hard fork. Okay, so that I wish we had these meetings at the time because there's a lot of confusion as to why we did it. It was pretty important to get all of this squared away up front. And the fork went well. We learned a lot. Every time we do an upgrade, we learn more. Okay, so we learned that in the future, ZNOMP, which is code that our miners use for operating mining pools, we need to make sure that all of that code gets updated with any future upgrades. Okay, so we learned our lessons and things went really well, and now we're on a more secure network that's more functional. And we have a lot of ongoing blockchain improvements. Just a couple of them that I listed here. We have open SSL integration, which is critical for our secure node network that's being implemented in the blockchain behind the scenes as we speak. And we had an issue with the watch-only addresses that was fixed. So a lot of the functionality behind the scenes for the blockchain ended up having some, or not a lot, but some of the functionality had some issues with the replay code that we implemented. So now we're going back and just cleaning things up, and it's going really well. Now, a future thing that we need to do is we need to make sure that we're syncing with Zcash upstream improvements to make sure that we're staying in sync with them, at least while we're on the similar C++ blockchain. Okay, so next slide, please. Let's see. Okay, there's a little lag, like I said, but I'll just start talking to the next slide. Okay, so infrastructure. There's a lot going on the infrastructure front. The really exciting thing is the secure node development. I think we have Alan on the line who's running that as well. Rolf and Alan have been working on that project, and we already have a prototype of the secure node tracking system on the testnet, and our guys are doing the best to break it on testnet, see if we can stress that as much as possible. And maybe towards the end, if there are any questions on the secure node network with the development there, if Alan's on the line or Rolf gets on the line, then they could probably answer in a lot more detail. We have a new blockchain explorer up, so it's our official one. It's explorer.zensystem.io. It's really cool. We have the Swing GUI wallet, so the graphical user interface wallet. It's just easier for people to use than the command line wallet. The Swing wallet now is available on Mac and PC. We have a potential new GUI wallet in consideration for development. Lucas is itching to work on that project, so that would be really cool. He's got a team that could be spun up to do that work. It's called the Horizen wallet. We have another really cool project going on. It's well, we have website updates ongoing. Of course, we know that we have to improve the website, and that's something that we have some marketing folks going to come on shortly and help us with. We have a team that just is continuously doing minor modifications to it. Another really cool project is My Zen Wallet. We're doing an online wallet. If you guys have ever used the My Ether wallet, or there's a My Monero wallet, it's a really cool, easy to use online wallet, which stores all of your information on your browser, so there's no central server that's storing any private keys or information about you. So it's in development at the moment, and we're looking at least 50% complete on that. We have a prototype up that we're starting to tinker around with and try to break it. Let's see what else we have. Okay, so we every good cryptocurrency project ought to have at least one faucet. So we have Gustavo, or Rocket is pretty close to completing a really cool zencash faucet. That should be coming out shortly, where we'll be giving away funds just to get people introduced to zencash, have them download wallets, and they can go and get a random draw of some free Zen. So that'll be a fun thing that we'll get going with the community shortly. And we're exploring hardware wallet options. So to cryptocurrency, we ought to have very secure ways for people to keep their funds offline. So we definitely aware of that. It's on our roadmap. It's something that we are very interested in implementing shortly. So we are currently reviewing a few different options to make that happen. So let's go on to the next slide, please. Okay. And outreach. So we have all of this cool stuff going on, and it seems like the world isn't paying attention to us. So a big part of what we're spending up now is we're working on outreach efforts. And we're actually bringing on an experienced and a very experienced crypto marketing team that we're actually reviewing proposals, and we're hoping to bring on someone officially as early as next week. So we're going to start systematizing our marketing and our outreach efforts with a professional firm that has a ton of industry experience. And on top of that, we're also going to be looking at just more decentralized grassroots, kind of a swarm approach to promotional activities as well. So I think that's pretty exciting and should help us out quite a bit to get the word out there in the near term. We've already initiated, and we have ongoing Bitcoin talk and Twitter campaigns. Madar's doing a great job on that. We check in every day to see what he's been up to. We're funding a virtual reality and gaming competition in Romania. So it's kind of exciting. I think that these are, or that's one area that we definitely want to get into. So we want to be the most useful privacy coin on the market. So we want to make sure that we have as many ways for people to use the coin as possible. And I think gaming is a really good opportunity for us. We're evaluating additional proposals for this grassroots outreach. If anyone listening to this or listens to it on YouTube later has some ideas for this grassroots outreach approach, definitely get on the forum and start posting your ideas, and then we'll get some conversation going and see what we can fund. Now, ideally, I'd like to have just a monthly budget from the community fund where we just spread that out amongst the most interesting proposals. Okay. Jane actually attended 2 events. So a very successful blockchain Portugal meetup hosted by Zencash. I heard it went awesome, and Rocket was out there with her. And I heard there was just a lot of interest and excitement. Some really tough questions for Jane as she powered through like a champ from the feedback we got. And we had a presence at Rise Hong Kong, a very important fintech conference. So we're getting out there. We're getting out into the community and getting the world to know a little bit more about who we are. And we've had dozens of really high-profile media placements, which may oftentimes go unnoticed. Usually, when I see some media placements like this, I try to post them into the announcements channel on Slack, or we tweet it out. But it's easy to lose track of like how significantly our outreach is working. In this front, we had a Reuters article that got syndicated to the New York Times, Business Insider, CNBC, NASDAQ, a variety of other sites. Just look at the slides later on. You can see Market Watch article, Forbes, Fortune magazine. So we're getting out there, which is really cool, because when people are first learning about cryptocurrencies or blockchain, and they're pulling up their Fortune news source or their CNBC news source, and then they see Zencash on there. These are people that potentially are not part of the crypto market currently, but they may be interested, and we're getting out there as one of the first names that they're hearing of, alongside with Bitcoin. So that's pretty cool. Next slide, please. Okay. Now, just some administrative stuff and how we do things. I thought it was important just to get this out there for everyone to know, because we want full transparency with everything that we're doing. We don't want any kind of opacity where people think that they're just insiders doing things that are not open or fair. So what we did was we set up a nonprofit corporation in Delaware, the U.S. state, because they just had a fairly straightforward, streamlined way to set up a nonprofit. And for the nonprofit, we have 5 of us, early founders for the project, just sitting on the board there administratively. And the community fund is managed by the foundation. And really, this is something until we have our Zen Central fully decentralized treasury model implemented. But in the meantime, we have just a very open, fair way where we just have a majority vote on things within the foundation for what we want to fund. And that's to get us to the point where we could be eventually fully decentralized. Now, for a nonprofit corporation, by definition, there's no profit taking. There's no capital investment. There are no owners of it. It's just purely an administrative mechanism so that we can actually implement contracts with people, and we can set up a bank account so that when we have to pay people in fiat currency, like US dollar, we have just a vehicle to do that. Okay, so that's really all I had. Now, why don't we open this up to questions? Be happy to answer any. Let me see. Let me get back onto the Discord myself. See what we have. So I've burned through a little bit more time than I wanted. Let's do like another 10 or 15 minutes to answer questions. Okay. Let's see. All right. So new messages. Yeah, thanks, Anarch, for posting the questions here in the Discord. What role is IOHK playing in the Zencash community? Okay, yeah, no, that's actually a great question. Thanks for asking that. So IOHK is, or Charles Hoskinson, who's the CEO of IOHK, one of the founders for it, is a strategic advisor for us. So that relationship, he's been awesome, being able to help steer us in the early days and get us going pretty well. And he's actually lent us, free of charge, he gave us some developer support early on to help bridge the initial couple of weeks. So we have IOHK developers working on the project informally at the moment. They've been great, like really talented people doing some of our blockchain work. And actually helping out the secure nodes with the OpenSSL implementation as well. Now that's an informal relationship we have. We have a formal advisory relationship with Charles, and we have an informal relationship where we have these developers from Team Veritas within IOHK. Now, that relationship could be formalized on contract potentially in the near future. That's something that is TBD, and we'd be happy to release any information as it becomes available. So at the moment, hopefully that answers any questions. So let's see. IOHK is not helping out with the my Zen wallet. That's actually Kendrick on the forum. Kendrick Tan is doing the my Zen wallet. Yeah, okay. So let's see what else we have. Any other questions? No, you should not need Fiber to set up a secure node. Let's see. So secure nodes will require some technical competence to set up, but we want to make sure that there will be some hardware requirements as well and technical competence, but and the 42 Zen holding requirement to qualify for the secure node operator status. But other than that, it should be fairly straightforward with no other onerous requirements. Okay, so is there issue with the dev who left Zen? Are there any legal actions? No, there are no legal actions against the developer who left Zen. That was his own choice to leave. Unfortunately, it was done in a very unfortunate manner in which he left, but all his choice, so we wish him the best, but there's no formal legal action against him, at least that I'm aware of. Okay, so the IOHK relationship is informal. Okay, so Charles is listed on the website as a formal advisor, not IOHK. So we actually had IOHK Team Veritas on the website because they are supporting us every day. We talk to these guys every day. They're doing work with us, which has been great. But we actually took down the Team Veritas block from the team there just because it has been informal. Now we're looking to formalize the relationship. And this is what I said, potentially news pending in the near future. But as of now, we don't have any formal relationship with IOHK other than Charles, and Charles is acting on in his own capacity as our advisor right now. Okay, any other questions? Yeah, guys, any other questions while we have the stream going? Comments? Like I said, we want to do this. We're going to start off every other week, just so we don't add too many requirements on the team to be just reporting what they're doing. We want them to actually be working. So we're going to start every other week, and if we have to, if things get really heated, then we're going to, we could always up this to every week, just a quick update. I definitely want to keep it pretty short, but give anyone in the world the opportunity to hear from us directly. We want to just be a completely open and available team. Rolf is the man. Great comment. I agree. Rolf is the man. So he's unavailable right now, but in the future, you guys will definitely be hearing from him directly as well. So, okay, cool. Well, if we don't have any other questions, we might as well end it. Or I guess we have a couple people typing. Okay, cool. Another question. Okay, when Josh left, it sounded very passionate. Any potential long-term backlashes or the code issues? No, not that I'm aware of. So we actually took quite a bit of effort initially to make sure that the code base is secure, and these as he called them, O-Day vulnerabilities. What he was really talking about was this transaction replay code that he initially set to expire for whatever reason, within 1 week, and then when it expired, he blasted out to the world that he found an O-Day on Zencash, which is just kind of silly since it was his code that he set to expire. So we had a deep dive effort for a couple weeks after that, just making sure everything was secured. That worked out really well, and now we've had an additional month of development on top of that to make sure that we're sufficiently protected. So as of now, there are no vulnerabilities that we're aware of. Obviously, everything's open source, so anyone in the world can and should take a look at the code base to let us know if there's something that we missed. Okay, we have more questions. Is there a roadmap timeline Zencash has released? Okay, so the roadmap currently is the white paper. So the white paper specifies a roadmap. We're actually working on just a much easier and intuitive graphics, just to show graphics in a specific roadmap document. So we're going to have that released shortly. Rolf is working on an abridged version of the white paper because admittedly the white paper is a little verbose, and we're going to just try to condense that to make it much more easily readable, so the roadmap is more clearly identified. Then we'll have some graphics, and then we're going to have a much more formal progress map that shows progress towards the roadmap goals and the milestones. Okay, so another question: 42 Zen for secure node. Yes, that is correct. We have 42 Zen requirement to be able to operate a secure node, and we've had some feedback on that of maybe it not being enough, and I think that's because the Zen price has come down. Now, the goal for this 42 Zen to hold, besides it being a cool number from Hitchhiker's Guide to the Galaxy, is that we had two conflicting things. One, we want secure node operators to have skin in the game. Okay, it's not so that we lock up a significant portion of the money supply and secure node operators. Kind of like Dash has a significant, it's a 1,000 Dash requirement to be able to operate a master node. We think that that's way too high. And we do expect the Zen price to increase in the future, so we don't want to exclude people for economic reasons. Okay, we want talented people who can run a secure node, and we don't want them to be excluded from doing that just because they can't afford to operate a secure node because of our arbitrary Zen holding requirement. Okay, so that's the trade-off that we're looking at there, and why we kept it at 42. We don't anticipate increasing it, but what I will say is, so our entire mentality is we believe in trial and error. So we're starting off with a 42 Zen requirement to operate a secure node. But if we find, for instance, that we just have a flood of secure node operators, if we find out that we don't have enough secure node operators, we can also change the Zen requirement. Okay, so it is something that is theoretically flexible, but currently we're happy with the 42 Zen requirement. Okay, any idea on when the last part of the secure node implementation will be in place? Yes, great question. Okay, so if Alan's online, feel free to chime in. But my understanding is that we're looking at a 4 to 6 week project remaining. Now, that said, we have a prototype in the testnet that we're trying to smash as much as we can and break right now. So we're not trying to, it's a balancing act. We're not trying to rush something to operations that could be flawed. So but at the same time, we don't want to take forever with it. But I'd say a safe estimate's about 4 to 6 weeks. What's the plan on getting more developers in the community then? So we've actually had people join our community because they just find it very positive and welcoming, supportive. And that's the number one plan. Okay, we just foster a very positive community where anyone can join, and if you just start being productive and helping out, we're going to make sure we also have resources to reward developers. We don't expect people to be working for free. Anyone can come join the project and help out. Now, we do have a couple other developers. We actually hope to announce a big, a really senior developer to join the project. Hopefully, by next week. I see him online if he wants to chime in, that's great. But he has some experience from the old days of eGold, which was a precursor to Bitcoin. So, and he has like 30 plus years of programming and C++ experience. So he'd be a major and very welcome addition to our community as well. And I think his philosophy on why we exist is very much in line. So that's kind of it. Is we just want to create a great environment for people to come participate, and we do offer rewards for participating. And we actually have a fairly robust developer community already for a project that's about two months old. So you compare it to a lot of other cryptocurrencies on the market that have a lot more market value than we do. I think that we're kind of a rock star out there, kind of a gem in the rough. Yes. Okay. So exchanges. Have we reached out to any exchanges? The answer is yes. In fact, we have a very interesting exchange that I'm very excited about. That I have another call with them to solidify an agreement later today. But we're looking at, so we're a privacy-oriented cryptocurrency. So I think that we ought to have some anonymous ways to buy and sell. So we have one exchange that is similar to Shapeshift in functionality, where you'll be able to buy and sell Zen anonymously without creating an account. So that will be a really exciting thing. We have a couple of other potential exchange listings in the pipeline, but we've just started serious outreach to exchanges. And the reason for that was we wanted to get the hard fork, the third week of July hard fork implemented, because we didn't want to get an exchange listing and then tell them, well, hey, great, thanks for listing us. Now a week later, go ahead and update all of your software. So we wanted to first get everything stable, and now that we're in a really good position technically, we're really embarking on significant outreach to exchanges. So yeah, expect more listings in the near future. See what else we have. Oh yeah, and our great point about the so secure nodes themselves will be able to vote on their own compensation. So obviously there's some potential agency issues there, right, from an economics perspective. If they can vote on their own compensation, but so it won't be the only vote. There will be plenty of other stakeholders in the community that will have a say, but I think it'll be what we have is a really interesting economics experiment where we're decentralizing decision making in economics. So we're going to see some very interesting things happen in the future. So when will Zen be implementing DAO-like governance? This is a great question. Actually, so it's a key element to our roadmap. Now, I don't have a date yet, but I can tell you that in terms of the roadmap items that we have implementing, we have the secure nodes ongoing right now that we should be looking at in about a month and a half. Then we have a proposal that we've been evaluating for messaging. That's the roadmap item. And then probably the next roadmap item on top of that will be the DAO-like decentralized governance. So once we actually you spin up a team to work on that in a dedicated fashion, then we'll get a timeline out to the community. But the plan was to have it implemented this year. So I'd like to see that in a couple months, 2 or 3 months personally, but don't take that as a firm estimate. Okay. Why do I keep saying talented people for the S node when most people are not? And this is news to them to get the S node up and keep it. It should have to be hard to get the S node secure nodes up and running. Yeah, no, so it depends on your skill level. So for someone like me, setting up a secure node would take a little bit of work. For someone like Rolf, it's really easy. Now, what we want are people who are skilled in network security, just to make sure that they're not spinning up a node that itself is vulnerable to attack. Let's see. Why not Poloniex? So yes, so Poloniex is obviously a major altcoin exchange that we definitely want to get a listing on. So yeah, I guess the first thing there is I urge anyone or everyone in the community to reach out to Poloniex themselves. They have a new coin suggestion link. We can actually post that for everyone as well. But definitely reach out to them and say that you want Zen trading on Poloniex, and hopefully we can get that to happen pretty soon. Yeah, and Jen made a great point. We'll be working with exchanges in Asia. especially those that list Zcash. That's kind of a no-brainer. If they list Zcash, then they're perfect to list Zen. Japan, Singapore are the big targets. Absolutely, that's a great point. Is it better in the community's best interest set up secure nodes in multiple VPSs? Yeah, so there's actually Balaji, if you guys know 21.co, he had a great article on decentralization and actually defining decentralization in crypto projects. And he went through this exercise. It's kind of like the Gini coefficients in economics for looking at income distribution disparities. And you could use the same methodology to look at decentralization disparities across crypto projects. And we want to be one of the world's, or the world's, most decentralized cryptocurrency, and that takes on multiple dimensions to become truly decentralized. Okay, so in terms of this question, just having secure nodes up in the first place, incentivize and pushing some of that economic incentive to people to operate full nodes that have additional security, that's a big part of being a more decentralized project. But then decentralizing further, operating with different VPS companies, absolutely. I mean, the more of a decentralized base that we have, the better. So I definitely urge people to, we obviously can't enforce that, who runs the VPS that people operate a secure node on, but it would obviously be better for the community if we have a very wide cross-section of different companies or different VPSs stood up. So will you consider an independent review of code after the threats made by the dev who left the team? Yeah, so absolutely. Okay, so we have our own team has been doing in-depth reviews of the code to make sure that there were no vulnerabilities. But I have to repeat this, the code is all open source. So anyone in the world can participate, whether we pay for an independent audit from a different team of specialists, it's TBD. But we have some of our partners that voiced interest in doing that. So it's something that's definitely there. The first step that we did actually when the developer left was we looked at the code similarity that we had to Zcash, and then any code that was identical to Zcash, we scratched that off as okay, that's fairly secure. Now the code that was implemented not from the Zcash code base, all of that code we've looked at. Okay, so whether it's obviously the more eyes we have looking at it, the better. So I'm fully open to another independent audit. Definitely a good idea. Yeah, thanks, Jane, for posting that coin request. So everyone check out the Discord channel if they don't know with the Poloniex coin request link. Will secure messaging be separated from coin transactions? Will users be able to send email-like messages without coins attached? Absolutely. So, well, there will most likely be a spam amount of Zen is required for a message to be sent, but it'll be extremely nominal in economic terms. Now that said, we're just now starting to look at proposals for the development of the messaging service, so we don't have specific details for release yet. But yeah, the goal is to make sure that we don't have the network jammed up with spam messaging either. So there'll be some nominal amount. Okay, the announcement page. Where's the link to the announcement page? So if you go to the Slack, there's a channel called announcements in the Slack. So you'd have to first join the Slack, and then you'll see the announcements channel. This was set up. It's an open channel. Yes. Yeah. Thank you, Anarch. So I was dancing around the answer that you just gave. IOHK has also audited most of our code. That's exactly right. So when I said that they looked at all code that's unique to our project relative to Zcash, those were the guys doing it. We had a very experienced team from IOHK do a deep dive audit. So yeah, we have we're fairly confident with the code base going forward. But of course, there's always mistakes that can be made. So we're always happy and that's the purpose of having an open source project. So anyone in the world can audit what we have going on. Okay, will secure messaging be separated from coin transactions? I think that's Pete, right? Okay, yeah, so, okay, great. I think that's, does anyone have additional questions? I'll hang on the line for a little bit in case anyone has something that they wanted to add. I see Alan joined the voice channel. Alan, do you want to speak a little bit about the secure nodes while we have you here? Let me see, in case you.
Sorry, yeah, I was just trying to get my microphone to work there.
There you are. Yeah.
Okay, yeah, I'd just like to point out that there are really two parts to the secure nodes. One is the Zen software itself, which is having worked on, and the other is the tracking system for payments, and is what's being tested in the testnet right now. And going through, we've got the tracking portion of it, interaction between pulling information from the nodes to see what's happening with them, to be able to track uptime, downtime, those things. Next, we're going to be implementing testing of the challenge system itself. It's working. We'll be working on the payment system and building that out. Pretty good progress with that and moving right along with the development. It's been a great collaboration going on in the channel on the testnet with new ideas and situations and use cases and scenarios popping up and being implemented as we go along.
That's awesome. Thank you, Alan. So yeah, and thanks. Anarch just posted the secure node alpha testing link. Perfect. So if anyone wants to go check it out directly, there's your link. That's great. Okay. Anything else that anyone has? We have, we've gone about 50 minutes almost. So I'm okay ending it here, or if you guys have any more comments. Okay, Jane. Yeah, so we've been asked to provide some more details to fill out the Poloniex corner request. Yeah, we could definitely do that. Trying to think about the best forum to make that happen. Maybe we should just do a forum post on it with walking through an example for how to fill it out. That's a really great point. Or if anyone else has any other suggestions. Alan, maybe this is a question for you if you want to chime in about minimum system requirements for operating a secure node. I know Rolf did 2 blog posts that were fairly detailed on it, but since you're the secure node guy here right now, maybe you could field that question.
I believe it's just really what has been posted in the part 1 and part 2 for now. Since the secure features haven't been completed yet into the Zen software, I'm not sure if there's anything else that needs to change from that standpoint. For the tracking portion of it, the secure node app, that is really just kind of an add-in on the secure node itself, which should be very simple to install and get up and connected to the tracking system. So I don't think there's really anything else there.
Great. Did you see Scott's question here on the Discord? He's asking, when is the next update to secure node Git planned so that new testers can pull the latest version?
I'm working on that. I hope to have that out today. On the server portion of it, making a lot of changes there, because that's where most of it happens. The portion that's on the nodes themselves is pretty lightweight. It's just really a connector to help in the process of moving, the requests for challenges and pulling metrics from the secure node back. So there's not a lot of changes there, but hopefully today.
Awesome. That's great. Cool. All right, guys. Well, I think we've had a pretty cool session. This won't be the last. Like I said, we'll do this every 2 weeks starting out. Maybe, it's a lot of fun, so maybe we'll end up doing it more frequently. But we'll start with the every 2 week schedule. Okay, cool. I guess let's just wrap it up here then. Thank you all for coming out. That's all I had. If anyone else has additional points or questions, you can stick around the Discord and just type it into the text chat channel. It's the biweekly update channel, or even the general text channel is fine too. We're going to be monitoring this new com channel. So, okay, cool guys. Well, thank you very much. I'm going to sign off here, and the stream should be available on YouTube shortly for anyone who missed this live session. All right.